Okay, recording's on, and no, I am not in Punta Cana yet. I'm leaving on Thursday, and I'll be there for the next 10 days. So the next, let's see, Wednesday session, Sunday session, and the following Wednesday session will all be from Punta Cana. After that, we'll see. In the meantime, let's get to work, right? A lot of action this week, and let's see what happened here, okay? There's some really interesting setups coming. And for you that are new, welcome aboard. The way that works is real simple. I'm just going to present my analysis and potential trading levels for the coming week. I'll explain myself, and I will pause for questions in between assets. Anything that I tell you is my own personal analysis. It's not a recommendation to buy or sell anything. Any trades you decide to take are at your own risk. Other than that, feel free to raise your hand and ask a question. Very simple. Okay, let's get to work. All right, so we're going to start at the top, like we usually do. Excuse me. And for all you people that were doubting me, that the S&P is going to be selling down into this 2,400 and change level, pretty much that's been confirmed. We did have this little channel that, it looked like we were potentially going to break up a little bit, but sure enough, Friday was just the be-all, end-all as far as what's happening. There's absolutely no doubt that we're going under here. Absolutely no doubt. And we will be breaking down under there, and we will be probably, at this point, I'm thinking the 2450 level. There's something a little bit before it. We're going to try to figure it out together around 2500. We'll see. But, for me, if we get to 2450, that's it. I think that should be this next bottom forming down there. And, the beginning of what should be a rally to new all-time highs. So, the crash is not here. This is a correction. The crash will happen if we are unable to get back to new all-time highs after this move down that we're expecting. Then we'll talk about something like that, which is, I'm not so sure is going to happen. I think we're actually going to rally pretty hard out of the low. And we're going to start to get bullish down there, but not yet. It's way early for that. We're still going to see some continued selling coming in here, and I'm expecting that at some point this week we should start to see a bottoming pattern, and then the beginning of a rally. So we're going to be short, or want to be short at least at the beginning of the week, but after that, towards Thursday, I'd be cautious. Well, obviously, by Wednesday, we'll reevaluate and see where we're holding and what's happened since then. You can see that we pretty much closed or touched, we didn't close down there, but that was the bottom. The 200 moving average on the daily chart was the low for Friday. We're clearly way outside the Bollinger Bands. I mean, we saw that. I'll go back to the weekly chart in a second and just show you how bearish that sucker looks also. As it is, once everybody starts getting bearish, it's time to start worrying that, now you're on the wrong side of the trade. So, at this point, everybody's seeing the lower highs, and everybody's seeing that we're breaking under here. And we will break under there. And if you're still short down here someplace, you're going to get steamrolled. You're going to get killed because we're going to bounce very hard out of that area. Okay? So, for now, you can see that this is clearly a lower high, lower low, and the lower low will come underneath here. Okay, and we're going to, get down into this level down here. Look at exactly where it is, a couple of different time frames, and doesn't mean we're going to, get long down there necessarily. You may want to think about a swing trade, something like that. But for, day traders or short-term traders, you need to see the bottom form down here before you start getting long, and it's going to take time for that to happen. But I do believe that will be the low for quite some time, probably into the summer. We're going to start to rally back up through the top up here, and we'll see how that looks, okay? So we're going to want to think about getting long down there. For now, clearly we want to be short, especially at the beginning of the week. And as we get later into the week, then, we'll start to look for something other than long. So the level I'm looking at pretty much is there's a little gap over here. It's around 2450, 2500 for sure. The big round number will give us a bounce. It is also under the lows over there. So, we'll see something like, first of all, we're gonna base a little bit over here, right? Right by the prior lows. We're not gonna pop it in the first try. So there'll be like a little supply zone over here on a smaller time frame, probably like around a 60 or 240 level. And then we're gonna hit the 2500. We'll back test into that level that was created. We touched 2450 down here. I think that's the low. Okay, and that would give us pretty much that I think the 100 fib extension that I had on my charts for a couple of weeks. Let's just do it again because I forgot the number, but I think that's where it was landing us, if I'm not mistaken. Malik, I see that you have a question. Just give me a second, and then I will take your question. So if we're looking back to, our little fib extension here, right? So this was our last high, and that was our last low, and then we rallied back to here. So yeah, you see the 100 fib extension, which means basically that the next leg down, which is started from here, right? If it's in exactly the same length as this leg down over here, we land at 2450. Okay, and I think that's what we're going to see. Okay? We're going to see that level. That should hold, and then around there, we're going to start to look for the bottom to form and start to rally. Okay, so for now, we want to be short into 2450. That's what we're looking for. Okay. Let me just go through the 60 chart, and then we'll take questions about ES. Actually, we'll do the 240 first. You can see on the 240 chart we're in the air. Okay, we've broken down pretty hard out of this middle bottom over here. We actually back tested into it already. Right, that was on Friday where we are looking to be long for a little while. I was actually expecting us to rally out of that, but we had a really nice long, and then it just collapsed, and then we had to flip it around to get short. So in the meantime, we're looking at air. So there's no question that we're going to go beyond, down into this area. There's just nothing holding it up, right? The only question is, overnight, do we get that back test again up into this 2650 level tonight or not? We won't know until market opens. But I do know that at some point early this week, we're going to be underneath these lows, right? The first bounce will come at 2400. I think 2450 is the bottom. Okay, and we'll find out as we get down there. Let's just look at the 60, and then I'll take questions. Here's our 60 chart, and you can see that we had a really nice push up. We had a potential for a massive breakout on Friday, and it was looking really, really nice. And then it was just this sucker right here. We had already had the higher low going, right? We're going long, long, long. We had taken out the supply, and we had total air up here, right? And then the trend just kicked in and just kicked this thing in the face and said, "This is not happening." We have massive sell-off into the close, right? And a little bounce. So right now, again, on the 60, we're also, I think the next level is not for a while. I'm just going to check out where the next level of demand is. Zoom out a little bit, take a look. Okay, so yeah, I mean, we're down at the lowest, 20, we're in the air. On the 60 chart, we're also in the air, right? So no question about where the sucker is going for now. The question really is what happens underneath the lows, going under the lows. And then after that, where's the bounce coming? Okay, so that's what we're looking at for now. I'd say if we're looking at in general, it's early shorts in the week, and then, later in the week, we're going to look for a potential to be long. Okay, go ahead, Malik. Question.
Hey, Joe, how are you?
Good, what's going on, buddy?
You said earlier that you were waiting to see on the chart that everybody would actually be bearish before going bullish. Two questions.
Yep.
Yeah, before going long. How do you see that, and is there a particular chart that indicates that?
Okay, so how do you see that? Okay, well, there's two ways to do it. The first way is to just understand that when you're looking at higher time frame charts, everyone is seeing what I'm just explaining to you, that we have lower highs and lower lows, and we have a big sell-off going on, and we're going to flip into a downtrend. And, when you start to get into these really fresh demand zones that we haven't touched, I'm sorry, this is in Q, that we haven't touched in a long time, you have to start to think about that this is going to turn around, because we know the price doesn't go in one direction. That's A. The second thing you can do is look at the commitment trader report, which will tell you where the net long positions and net short positions are. And if you check, you'll see that we're actually the most bearish we've been since it looks like the last 3 years. As of Friday, largest number of shorts we've seen in S&P in the last 3 years. Okay, so yeah, it's starting to get overly sold, and it's starting to think about that, that it's not going to stay down there for too long. Okay. First of all, realize also that the monthly chart is not anywhere near a downtrend yet. We have, some bearish-looking candles, and we have a pretty decent sell-off, and it's still going to come, but we're going to hit fresh monthly demand in an uptrend very soon. Right. 2450 is this doji over here on the monthly chart, right inside this sucker. See it? It's right underneath the lows, and this is a clear uptrend. Okay, so this level will produce a bounce. It's time to think about getting long. When the monthly trend is also down, we'll talk. You know what I mean? Then we could say, okay, we're heading for crashes and stuff like that. Right now, this is a correction in an uptrend, and we're just getting into a higher time frame correction. So when we get to the demand zone, it's fresh. It's time to think that, you know, this little lower time frame stuff is finished. We don't want to be short anymore. Okay. So you can either look at, you know, where we're holding, levels, charts, things like that, or look at the Commitment Trader Report. You'll see that we're way, way, way oversold. Okay?
Got it.
Okay?
Thanks.
Oh, cool. No problem. Raj, you got a question? Go ahead, man.
Hey, Joe. You said that was the largest short in ES in last 3 years, last Friday.
That's correct. Yes.
Where
number of contracts short. I just said, Commitment of Traders Report.
Oh, okay.
It's published every single week. You can look it up. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Next. Okay. NASDAQ. Okay. So again, once we're talking about indexes, the roadmap is the same. We're going lower. The only thing is realize that the NASDAQ actually has demand. Where ES is in the air, we had you know, a level of demand that we landed in on Friday on the daily chart outside the Bollinger Bands. So this one's going to have a little more trouble, I think, getting through this sucker, right? We had 2 levels of demand on NASDAQ. We only had 1 on ES. We had this thing over here, which we were able to pop through. ES only had that one. And then we had this sucker right here. Because remember, the NASDAQ was stronger. We actually made a new high already on this leg up. And therefore, I don't know if the NASDAQ is necessarily getting under here. I'm not sure. Will we break this level? Probably. We get under here? No, I'm not sure yet. We'll have to find out what's going to happen down here. You know, we're going to be selling off for sure, but this demand zone over here is going to cause some trouble. So that's why I'm sort of thinking that maybe we bounce back a little, even on the ES overnight. You know, we start to react out of what's this is going on over here, and then we start to roll over out of this level. Okay, so the NASDAQ is looking stronger. If you want to be short one, I'd rather be short the ES than the NASDAQ again at this point. And that also means that once it turns around, the one who's going to want to be long first is probably the NASDAQ, right? It's going to be the stronger of the markets. Right now, you can see over here that, you know, on the daily level, we got demand. The level of demand on the 240 is a little bit lower down. It's still, you know, it's sort of there already, but the best part of the zone is really underneath us still. Like this is like, you know, we're still trading like over here right now. We've come, you know, as far as I think into this wick. And this is where the last level of demand is. It's right around 6,400. After that, then we're talking about breaking through the bottoms over here. Okay, so you know, I don't know what's going to happen down here. Well, I think we should expect a bounce tonight. I don't think we're going to sell off very harsh tonight. I think we actually try to rally, and then tomorrow, in the regular hours, we do sell off, and we end up eventually breaking under here. NASDAQ under this, I don't know. We'll see. I'm pretty sure the ES is going under this sucker. Okay. So again, I'd like to be short if I'm choosing a direction for NASDAQ, but I'd much rather be short the ES than the NASDAQ. Okay. Let's go look at the 60 chart. Yeah, there's the attempted breakout over there into the air on the NASDAQ. Got clobbered and then back tested and then clobbered some more. Right. And we closed out pretty low down there. Decent bounce after hours. And are we in the air over here? Yeah, you see. So 6,500 really, I don't even have a demand zone. The demand zone's at 6,400. So it's still about 150 NASDAQ points from, until we get down into demand. So again, tonight maybe we get a little bounce up, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. But underneath here is where we start to think about potentially breaking the lows. And and again, I'm not looking to short the NASDAQ. I'd much rather short ES. Okay. Yes, Ashwani. Question.
Hi, Joe. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Hi, good. So, are you short either the ES or the NQ right now? And if yes,
both.
When did you get short?
Both on Friday.
So, at what time? Because you see this in like if you look at NASDAQ, the zone you have. And that engulfing candle after that, it was still an uptrend on 60. Like you were still getting higher highs and higher lows.
That is correct. That is correct. So over here, when we were unable to rally, it's not an uptrend, it's a downtrend. We're talking about uptrend.
Sorry,
trend
yeah,
was
no,
never up.
you're correct. Correct.
Trend
Sorry,
was
I
up.
said
The
that.
trend was never up. So I got short after we were unable to break over here. When I was talking about getting long because we had these higher lows underneath us, and then we were unable to get through the zone. That was it. I got short over here. And
Okay, so even though you were getting higher highs
highs,
and higher lows, you took over the trend.
where do you have higher highs and higher lows? I have lower highs and lower
No,
lows.
just on the 60 when we were trying to get long, right? In the morning, all of us were, or at least per
Yes,
the tweets, were trying to get long.
we were long for a while, and then we were unable to rally. If you look at on the 15 chart, we had a massive engulfing candle that just told me it was over. The party was done. Okay, take a look here. Right here, what happened?
Right.
We started to rally over here. Then we got this candle, right? And we sold off, and then bounced over here, right here. This green candle before the red one that turned into a twins. We should have rallied, continue right up here. What happened over here? This is a higher low. We had an engulfing candle over here at the bottom, right here, right? And we boom, boom, boom. And what happened? Right here, we died. It just turned over, and then that's it. That's when we got short. Because twins came over here, it went back into a lower high. Erase because I'm putting many lines on, but now that this is a lower high.
Right.
And the trend on the 60 was down, so that was it. I knew that the counter trend was over. It's finished.
Right.
There's no way. I actually told you in the tweet to pull your stop up, right? Remember?
Yeah, no, you did. You did. That's what I was trying to figure out. What was your logic of getting short? At what time did you get short? That was,
when we broke underneath, if you remember, I told you over here that
it was a doji or I remember that.
Right here, it said pull your stop underneath this, right here.
Correct.
Okay, and I said and that's it. Once we broke under there, I knew that it was over. It was finished. Okay. So
all right.
That was it.
Thank
so
you.
The longs were in place, no problem, but it just didn't develop after that. The chart told us right here. Look, even on the 5-minute chart, big rejection with an engulfing candle at the top, telling me it was over. So I stayed long in that until I got stopped out under here, only because I didn't know if this was going to turn around and make another high after that, and no clue, right?
Right.
But I know that if it went under here, I didn't want to be long anymore. That much I knew.
Right.
And that was a tweet I put out.
You were not getting any new highs anymore.
Here. That's it. It's over. Right? And that was it. So it was time to get short because the trend was down. Right. Okay.
Right. And just out of curiosity, on this 5-minute, at 66.50, 66.30, it's the zone you have marked. Would you have taken the breakout of that basing?
No.
Okay.
No.
Like breakout down.
Because when I'm taking a breakout trade, there has to be air underneath me. If you look to the left over here, this is still demand.
Right.
So taking a breakout out of this is not a smart move because there's no room to make any money. But if you want to take a breakout underneath this, that's fine. Right?
Okay.
When it broke under here, then you could take a breakout because there's nothing to the left to stop the breakout from happening.
So even though on a 60 or on a downtrend, you still worry about the 5-minute demand zone?
Yeah, because over there, for sure. I'm worried about, I want air. I don't care I need to have air when I'm taking breakouts. Breakouts are very dangerous only because I don't know where the stop can go. I have no idea where it's going to turn around. So for me, when I'm taking a trade for a breakout, there has to be air. Okay, so if there's no air behind it, I'm not taking breakouts. Okay, that's my rule. But if you have a different rule, that's good for you. But that's fine. But if you're asking me what I do, that's what I do. Okay, all right, and that's it for the indexes. If anyone else has a question, feel free to raise your hand. Otherwise, we're going to move on. Okay, cool. All right. Oops, that's not what we want to do. Sorry about that. Raj has another question. Okay, Raj, what's up, man?
Okay. About the air, Joe, whenever you take entry, you are looking for air to at least take T1 out, and that's your rule, right?
That's for sure, yes.
Okay.
When we talk about a general, normal trade, yes. When I'm talking about a breakout, it's even more so. There has to be total air behind me. You know what I mean? Because if there could be a little bit of, opposing area on my regular trade, as long as I can get my T1 off before I get there, I don't care. But in a breakout, I don't want anything there at all because my stop is hanging in the middle of nothing. There's there's nothing to put my stop behind only because when I'm taking a breakout, I don't know where the next base is to put my stop behind. There is no base yet. It's not forming. So when I'm doing that, I'm very careful. I want to make sure there's nothing at all to the left. It has to be a solid wall of air behind me. Okay? Good? Okay.
Thank you.
No problem. Next. All righty, moving on. Okay, so that was our indexes. Let's go look at crude. So if you remember last Sunday, I said that crude had the potential to do a little double top action going on over here. Back to 66. We're in striking distance of, I think it's like a 3-year high. This high back here of 66 and change is a high that we haven't seen in a couple of years, if I remember correctly. And we're right almost there again. So the question is, are we going to pop it first and then turn over? Or what's the story? You know what I mean? That's really what it's about. Are we going to get a little bit higher from this level? I think we are. I think we're going to get back to the highs. And, we're probably going to stop out any stops up there. But I think we're going to see a reversal out of that after that. I don't really think we're going to 70 from this level. Because really, after this 66 and change level, the next real stop is going to be something around 70. And we're not getting there without this back test. We're not breaking out of this wedge over here without a back test into this area. And I think we're even going under it, to be honest with you. But, for now, I think we're going to top out again at 66 and change. We may just get slightly above here. But, if I was long, that would be about where I'm going to look for my exit in this particular trade. I'm not long currently, and I don't want to be long this high either at this point. I don't think we're really going that much further. Let's take a look over here. And there's our 66 and change. This is the 240. And there's some other crappy supply up there. There's nothing really that fantastic until we get something a little bit higher up. Let's go take a look at some of the zones up there. Yeah. So you can see up here where we really get to serious supplies up here around 69 and change. This is a bunch of junk back here. It's, it's supply. It's stuff that's been, touched every now and then and banged into. Can we get up here? Yeah. Are we getting to 70 from this level? No. So where is crude going for now? Probably slightly up. I'd say by the end of the week, we probably end up down on crude. So I'm not really, getting into crude yet as far as, taking longs or shorts. I'll watch up there at the top for some kind of reversal to begin, like a swing short position, but not until, it's finished and it's ready. And I'll let you know when I see it. Obviously it's still in a total uptrend right now, and it's likely to continue up a little further. There's some demand zones underneath us if you want to join the long a little bit lower down. If we get an early sell-off, something around 64 and change looks okay. Why does it keep doing that? I don't know. But 64 and change down here is okay if you want to join the long and look for 66. But that's about it for crude, really. And we're going to top out up there right around the highs, and then we'll start reversing. So I think by next week, we're probably going to want to think about getting short. Okay? That's crude for now. If anyone has a question, be my guest, ask. But we're not going through 70s. We're not getting to 70 now. Similar with gold. What do we got going on? Well, gold is at the top of its monthly wedge again, right? You can see that. And you can see that we are on the weekly chart back into the supply zone that we sold off of. But we weren't able really to break down. Look at this level of demand over here that was underneath us, pushed us back up. We had a really strong week. Gold is going to be affected by the market, especially this coming week, where we have a lot of, bears attacking, and people are looking for flight to safety type of stuff. So I think we see a little bit higher price on gold again as we sell off early in the week, and then again it's going to turn over. I'm still looking for gold to test this 1265 level. I think we're really going to see it. Are we going to get a little bit higher? Most likely, as we take out the bottoms on the indexes, we're going to see a bounce in gold. So it's possible that we make a new high even and get back behind this 1370 up here. But I think that after that, we're going to be rolling over. And by next week, we're not going to, by the end of the close of the week, we're not going to be at new highs up here. We may peek through, stop out the stops and stuff like that. And then we'll probably end up closing out the week something like a doji candle. And then the sell-off starts the following week. So gold, I think, is about to top over here. So you don't want to really be long because there isn't really much left. You could see that, on the 240, we're sitting inside the supply zone over here, and the highs are back up over there, and we're getting close to them. So we're probably going to break through here. There's, looks like, $5 worth of upside potential here still. I'd much rather, take something like over here. If we get a little bounce and you want to be long, it's fine. I mean, a little sell-off, because we're still in an uptrend, that's for sure. You see this tight little doji at 1345. Looks really, really nice. If we get a sell-off out of the zone that we're in now, I can understand taking a long here and aiming, for the new highs. That's fine. Full first level of demand after the new high, that's totally within trading rules. It's okay. But if you're talking about bigger picture stuff, you don't really want to be long, once we get back up to these highs over here, because we're not staying up there at all. We're going to be pulling over, turning over, and selling off pretty harshly. Gold also had a little, well, my charts at least rolled over, so they might look slightly different than what you're looking at, because I rolled over a couple of days early on gold. But so the reason there's a gap over here is because my chart is rolled over on that day, but yours is probably not yet. There will be rollover this week for gold. Maybe Wednesday. Might be Wednesday for you guys. I'm not sure. I got to check. But gold is going to roll over this week. Okay, so keep that in mind. And remember about the rollover gaps that get filled. Okay, keep that in mind as well. So we're going to gap up on the rollover, and there's going to be a little bit of space, and you should look for some kind of back test to fill the gap. Okay, so once that gets going, then the bears might even step up and do what they're supposed to do, because with the gap, the continued up will probably come early in the week. And then I think you guys are rolling over Wednesday. I have to double check. Wednesday or Thursday, I'm not sure. But that's around the time that I'm expecting that, that we should start to see the sell-off coming in as far as gold is concerned, because the markets are going to start rallying back then. So that would make total sense that we're going to back test into the gap area. All right, let's talk about nat gas. Well, someone has a question for gold. So far, so good. Cool. All right, let's go to nat gas. Nat gas has just been beaten up and kicked in the face over and over for the last couple of weeks. It just can't get anything going. The last few days have been brutal. And it's almost looking like it's been algo traded. I'll show you in a minute what I mean on the 240 chart. It's just like too perfect. And it's just trying to get down. I think it wants to break this level over here, the lows, all these old lows over here. You can see back here on the weekly chart where we had the bounce off the demand zone, immediately getting retraced and retested again. If we come back to the zone, it's likely that we get underneath the last low again. And, this even had rollover as well, and we've already gap filled back into the gap. So it's looked really, really, really weak. I mean, this is what I mean when I'm talking about algo traded. It looks too picture perfect. You have a big drop, and then we have like 10 candles sideways, and a big drop, and then 10 sideways candle, and a big drop, and a big drop. I mean, right? So they're just allowing this little choo, boom. Choo, the demand, bang. This was a gap up on the rollover, and immediately, boom, right back down. Closes the gap. So where are we going over here? It looks to me like we're going to break the lows. That's what it looks like. We're going to end up at 2.5, I would say, is where the next level of demand is sitting for nat gas. So no longs at all. If we get a rally, short the rally, I mean, nat gas looks like crap over here. And until we get into fresh demand, I would not be taking any longs. I actually have a little gap under here. Let's go look at that. It's like 2.6 to 2.5, and then something underneath it. Let's go see what it looks like. So that might be, it's a little open type of area over here. Looks like we tested one time in this little wick in there, and then we're coming to these lows over here, and that's the lows on the weekly chart that I'm saying this might break. Unbelievable, but yeah, it might. We'll have to watch as we get down here. There's going to be demand in the 2.5 range, and we'll watch for something. So if you want to be short the rally. Okay. Yeah, Malik. Go ahead.
Joe, on the 240, do you see a head and shoulder? Because I see one.
So you see a head and shoulders on the 240 chart. So you're talking about a bigger one, I think. I'm assuming even over here. Let's see.
2730.
2730 is a shoulder. This is a shoulder. What are you talking about?
No, 2730 on the left hand side.
2730 on the left hand side.
The week right here.
These, and then these, and then what are you doing up here?
Yes.
This is like a double head. Yeah, I can see what you're saying. Yeah, I potentially yes. Probably on a smaller time frame, a higher time frame. It'll probably be a little clearer. So let's go look a minute. But again, either way, even if it is, I mean, we're clearly going this way for now. We're not gonna bounce out of this without another test of fresh demand underneath us first. So it's possible, but when you're not sure something about that, well, just shoot up a time frame, get some of the candles off the chart. Get rid of some of the noise. Now let's see if we see it. So let's look at the daily for a second, and yeah.
Not as
Not
defined.
really.
No.
Not so defined, right? It's not so clear, right?
Yeah.
The shoulder is here. You're talking about the other one should be up here someplace. It's not, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay.
cool.
Thanks.
All right, next. No problem. All right. Let's see the lower time frames. A couple of lows of supply. There's the gap on Thursday, I believe it was, and the immediate sell-off to close the gap. There's nice supply up here, and again, the demand is way under us. Next level I have down here, yeah, again, this that gap area around 2.6, so somewhere down here. Okay, I think we're going to see the 2.5s this week, so shorts for nat gas on rallies. Okay. All right. Oops, didn't want to do that. Let's go bring that chart back. Okay, and let's go look at the dollar. Has been under a lot of pressure this week. Very ugly weekly candle. Very ugly. Okay, we had a pair of hammers here that were telling us we should be able to rally at least out of that, right? You know, on this fresh demand that we hit back here, right? It's this fresh monthly demand zone back, and then we get this over here. Oh boy, engulfing candle. All right, and no less with a rollover gap, which we backfilled. Right? So we're still inside the daily demand zone. We haven't really broken the demand zone yet, so there is a chance that, you know, this really will hold and rally back up, but, you know, it's got to prove itself first before I'm interested in saying it's going to rally. I believe it actually might break this zone is what I'm really thinking. You could see a gap sitting right here on the 240 chart that we would be interested in shorting around 89.4. Okay, and, you know, are we going to, you know, make a new low down here? I don't think we're going through here. I think we turn around somewhere before that in the lower time frame demand zone. But, hey, we'll find out soon enough. If I'm choosing the direction, it's down for now early in the week. Again, as the market starts to sell off, I think we're going to see the weakening dollar. Again, they're a little bit, concerned with the Fed's 3 interest rate increases. They would love to see 4. I think that's putting some pressure on the dollar. And therefore, you know, that means we're going to see some euro longs this week, slightly higher again. So, yeah, to look at the euro for a minute, and there we go. The euro on the weekly chart, you can see, is the exact opposite, obviously, and getting the failed hammer here, which means we should be getting back to this area around 126. Right? This high over here on the daily chart, 1256. 125 has been hit a couple of times. It's going to probably break this time. We're going to get out here into the, you know, beyond the 125s, to the 126s, I think, is what we're going to see this week. And then, you know, we'll start to see some, you know, some pullbacks after that. But it's long early in the week for euros. Okay. So here we go. The demand zones I was looking at on 60. We have this one down here. And that's about it for the 15. That's something a little better, I think, for demand. But expect the euro rallies again early in the week, and we'll reassess again on Wednesday. We could see down here that again the level looks like crap. It was all been touched, bang, bang, bang. This level is probably going to break. So, you know, which is the demand zone underneath us that's going to turn it around? I can't tell you. There's too much crap going on over here. There is this little one over here, but you know, it's not something I would be willing to trade until we actually broke the highs. Right over here, where there's little doji. There's a level sitting right here. See this doji inside here? And you can see that we've had a harsh sell-off into that level, and then we rallied out and made a higher level. We touched it again right here with this wick, and we rallied out again. So there's demand sitting here, but it's not something I'm willing to buy until we take out the high up here. You know, and then by then there'll be another level sitting over here. So it's not something that I'm comfortable just putting an order in yet. But I know I want to be long. I just don't have a clean spot yet. When I see it, I'll let you know. Yeah. So I'm looking for longs on euros. If you have a question, be my guest. Otherwise, we're going to the yen. So some of my students have pointed out that the yen is in massive air, and they're absolutely correct. There's hardly anything in the way of the yen rallying beyond where we are, and especially again early in the week where we start talking about, you know, the yen long is anti the indexes, and the indexes are going to be selling off. The yen should be rallying, and that's exactly what the chart seems to be saying to us. Okay, we're breaking away from a monthly wedge. We're breaking away with a pair of twins last week over here on the weekly chart, breaking out. On the daily chart, we're breaking out also, and we're in the air. There's plenty of room for this sucker to pop. And I think that's what's going to happen again early in the week until we get into this higher time frame stuff. We're starting to retrace that election night wick. Pretty much is where we are. Let's zoom out a second, show you what I'm looking at. Okay, so right here, this is Trump's election right here, this candle, right? And you could see that there's this little gap in here. Right? So I have a rule for myself that we're allowed to cut off wicks if there are news events, which obviously that was. So I'm looking at this gap area that we're about to arrive into over here as potential for something to happen. I'm not sure what, it might want to get all the way back to the top. So I'm going to watch it. I'm not getting short, that's for sure. But I'm going to be concerned with longs once we start getting up there. So there's still definitely more room. And again, now it becomes the same story. As the indexes start to bottom, the JY will start to top. So you want to be long, you can definitely be long until we start to run into trouble on the indexes, because that's when the JY is going to stop rallying. Okay? So pull back onto lower time frame demand, you can go long, no problem, especially early in the week, anticipating the highs. So here's a great welcome level on the 240. We get down into the 9.5s area, I don't think we're going to get there, but if we do, it's definitely worth something. On the 60 chart, we have a couple of levels to look at over here. This one is really nice. Okay. So this level I like a lot if we can get back down there. There will be a level over here. I'll show it to you in a minute on like the 15 chart, but that one we have to make a new high first. Can't take that zone yet because we're sitting inside supply. I'll point out in a minute. If we don't break up, we're going to have like a double top, and then this becomes the middle, and then that means we're going to end up back here anyway. So this particular level, which I'm going to show you in a minute, is qualified with we got to make a new high first, and then after that we can take that trade. All right, so it looks like this. There's the zone. Okay. Right here. Okay, really, really nice looking long. However, it will only be valid for me if I make a new high first. Because if we don't, the origin of the double top will be down here, and this level should not hold. So if we pop through the top, I'm interested. Okay, that's the zone. I like it a lot. It's fantastic working demand. Prior highs, nice tight dojis in there, big leg out. Fantastic. Okay. Keep your eye on that sucker. Just make sure that we trade above this area first. Okay. Any questions so far for yet? Okay. Keep on going, baby. Aussie. So take a look over here on the weekly chart. Who's anonymous? Mr. Anonymous. What's your name, dude? Hello?
Hey, Joe, it's Brandon.
Hey, Brandon. Why are we anonymous today, Brandon?
I don't know. I logged in on my iPad today for the first time, so maybe that's it.
Maybe that's why. What's going on, buddy? How you doing?
Sorry. On JY, would you consider that if it does break through, comes back on that 15, would you consider that a swing, or would you consider that a day?
This level over here on the 15 that I just pointed out.
Yes.
So again, I think it's going to be a swing trade, but like a shorter term. It's only going to be like a couple of days worth. You know what I mean? It's not really a long-term position because by the end of the week, I think JY's turning over. You know what I mean? So yeah, if it comes early in the week, tomorrow type of thing, I wouldn't mind getting in here and holding it for a couple of days. If that's what you mean by swing. But if you're talking about swing type of thing where we're going to hold it for a couple of weeks, no, that's definitely not.
Got it. All right, cool. Thanks.
Cool.
Yes.
All right. Okay. So let's talk about the Aussie. Aussie looks like crap. Okay. First of all, you notice that we're coming close to the monthly channel, right? The bottom of the channel, we're almost there. And that's on the weekly chart, still all the way down here. Okay. And look at the weekly candles. Last week was 2 weeks ago, an engulfer, right, after we attempted to rally. And now we've gotten this little doji inverted hammer type candle, which is a dangerous candle because you don't really know what's coming next. It could be a continuation candle. It could be a reversal candle, right? It could turn into that evening star candle where you get a big green one on the other side, or it's just a drop-based drop where we get back into here, right? We're sitting on top of demand over here on the daily chart. Let's go take a look at it for a second. Let's figure out if we can figure out what's happening here. Are we breaking this demand on the daily? Let's figure it out. Okay. Well, it's fresh underneath us. So are we going to get lower than we've been before? Yes. We will get underneath this green wick. Will we break the zone? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think we're going to rally again out of this sucker. This is really strong demand. It's fresh. Look how far we've rallied away when it was formed back here. It was, chewed through this supply back here, and then we just this massive explosive rally. So yeah, we're going to get a little deeper because we have a lower high coming down over here and pushing down, but I don't think we're going to see, this level bust at all. We've got the bottom of the bands coming into daily fresh demand. That's not really going to do too much damage. So I wouldn't want to be short anymore. I think, even though it looks like it's not going to be heading up anymore, it's coming into a level where it's probably going to turn around. So yeah, are we going to break under the lows? Absolutely, because if you look at the 240 chart, you can see that clearly that the low that I'm talking about on that daily, this one down here so far, that's getting taken out. We're going to push down, but we're pushing deeper into fresh demand, and then we're going to start turning around again. Now, how do I know we're going to break them? Because I see right here, that we've got this lower high coming right back to the zone, right? And if we come back here, this lower high in our face, this will break. We're making new low. But under here is still that daily fresh demand, and therefore we're going to rally up away from that area again. So I don't want to be short anymore. If we start to, hit this level, and then we back test into a smaller level of supply someplace over here, we might take a quicker, short term, and just aim for new lows under here. That's a valid trade, taking a day trade type of thing. But after that, that would be it, because once we come into that fresh demand zone on the daily chart, you got to say we're not really selling off anymore after that. We're going to get a pretty strong bounce. So here's the level on the 60 supply over here, and we've turned over. You can see it. We're breaking down. This is a bear flag that's starting to break down. Okay, and therefore we're going to make new lows. All right, here's the flag, right? There's the flag, and there's the staff over here, right? And now we're breaking down. We're going to hit the demand zone. If we pop up a little bit and hit some supply that should be over here on some smaller time frame around 7,700, you could take the short. But after that, I would tell you, don't let it. If you miss a short over here, let it go. After that, forget about it, because the long is going to start to rally. Bigger time frame stuff's going to start taking over. You don't want to be short anymore. Let's see what it looks like over here. There's the level right there. So you could see here, I didn't put it on the chart yet, but if we break under here, right, then this is the supply zone we're looking at, either this one or this one, 7,700, right? It's between 7,700 and 7,720 right here. That's where the supply is going to be. We're looking to take out this level over here. We pop through that. We hit the demand underneath us. That's the wick we're talking about. We get underneath that. If we get a pop back into that level of supply that's sitting here, you're short. Otherwise, forget about it. Once we get too far, we're going to start to rally pretty hard out of that level. And you don't want to be short. Okay, so that's Aussie dollars. Anybody have a question? You know what to do. Going into pounds. Okay, so what we got this week on the pounds chart? We're getting a continuation of the breakout. Okay, we broke away from this little trend line over here, channel. We broke up away from it. Okay, and we got a continuation this week. Pretty nice, but we start to run into trouble over here. Thursday was the high, and then Friday we back tested. Look down here. And we weren't able to make the highs. We actually put in a reversal candle up here with a lower high. So maybe we're done with pounds. We'll have to wait and see what the smaller time frame shows us. But I think we're starting to see some, maybe a back test of the breakout area that needs to get done. If we're really going to rally through the top, we need to a little bit and make sure we're good. This move. Let's take a look here on the 60. What are we looking at? Okay, so there's a little head and shoulders here. Great. It's a little bit crooked, but it's there. There's a nice there. It looks a little better from here. You can see it. When the chart is closed a little bit better. There's a lower high that I'm talking about. There's this wick up that just back tested up there, and then we we came back into the demand. We started rallying. If we were going to go, we should have went over here. If we come back over here, which I think is what's going to happen, we probably break down into one of these demand zones down here. So for now, I would not want to be long pounds. The trend is up, but it's starting to potentially turn because if we get under here, the trend will actually be down. We'll have the lower high and the lower low. So be careful over there. As far as, if we turn around again with another higher high over here, we don't know yet, but if we do, then, then we could start talking about getting, a little deeper, a little higher. But I think we're actually going to break down. I don't see a great level at all for pounds as far as a potential trade. The candles look really small and like no one's really interested. Pretty good demand down here. But again, by the time we get under there, we're in a downtrend and the long would be counter trend. Right? And you can see what I mean. I think there's not really good stuff going on over here. There's a small demand zone over here, but again, we haven't made a new high, so it's not something I'm willing to trade. This right here would be demand. If we turn around over here and make a new high, right, then I'll be interested in trading something over here. But that's not the case right now, and therefore, if we just break down, the long over here becomes counter trend. Okay, so keep that in mind. I don't see a good setup for pounds at all. Other stuff looks a lot better. The JY looks much better than that. All right, Canadian. So we got a really nice looking pair of twins. The Canadian should have collapsed this week. I think it's been held up a lot by crude and the weakness of the dollar at the same time is what we're looking at over here, because the prior week was an engulfing candle, right? It was a failed hammer engulfing candle. Should have died this week. We've turned this into potential hammer candle on the monthly chart with a big retracement. So you could see that over here. The level of supply is still working on the daily. We sold off, back tested, made a new low, and then we rallied back to the zone, and then we put in the hammer candle, right? Look at the daily chart, and instead of continued the sell-off, which is what should have happened, we actually rallied back up again and hit the supply zone a second time here, which means we now have a higher low coming into the zone. So we're still getting a little reaction, but I think we're actually going to see this thing turn around. And it should get slightly higher again, maybe fill the gap. As crude gets back up to that 66 for the double top, Canadian should be somewhere in this little gap area, and that should be the end of it. After that, it should start turning over. So for now, again, I'd say cautious longs for Canadian over here as we get up into that little gap zone up there. And then as crude starts to sell off, I think we're going to see the Canadian start giving it back a little. This is the demand zone I like a lot for Canadian, right over here. It's already starting to look like a double top. You could see that, right? And this is the fresh demand that we're talking about over here, okay? So we get a little bit, more of a push. Remember that 240 candle that we looked at just now is pretty bearish. So I think we do break the middle over here. We're going to come into this demand zone right here. It's a nice long for Canadian, okay? Long from here, look for new highs, and that's it. That's the end of your trade. First supply after the new highs, okay? That's what Canadian looks like to me. Early longs in the beginning of the week. Copper. Weekly chart. Okay, copper is arriving into a fresh demand zone on the weekly chart. So, we have to get a little bit lower for the fresh part. We got to get under here, but it's there. This is where the zone that we've made the most recent high from. We should be getting a bounce over here, which means we're going to get a little bit deeper into the zone. But after that, we should get a rally. It's somewhere like a back test in this little breakout area, a little deeper, and then we start to turn around and get up again. So beginning looks to me like the beginning of the week is going to be weak, short for copper. But as you get down into these demand zones, take a look on the daily chart. It's fresh demand. Well, not fresh, but the fresher part is under here. But it's outside the bands, right? If we get under here, if we get here, don't think twice. But this is a very strong demand for copper, okay? And it's outside the bands, and it's outside under the 200. I mean, you got to be kidding me. Fresh, untouched demand, no question about that for sure. The question over here is, do we turn around again in this level? I think we actually do. I don't know if we're going to see the lower one. Well, we'll find out this week. We're already outside the bands. We're already under 200, and we're coming into the level of demand that made the most recent high. Right? When we turned around over here, we made a new high up here. Therefore, when we come back, even if it's not going to hold, we should have a reaction. Should be a bounce. And then, if it makes a lower high after the bounce, then we'll talk about, maybe getting long down here. But if it, either way, you don't want to be short when we're this close to this type of demand that just made the most recent high. So no shorts right now. If we do get down into the zone, so you know how to trade the lower time frame longs when you start to see the bottoms form and stuff like that. You could try something like that. But other than that, if you want to trade the higher time frame, you're going to have to wait for the 60 to turn around. Okay. So here's our 60 chart. And you can see that we're sitting sort of in the air. There's the demand that's underneath us, right? So again, we're going to say the copper is going to sell off a little bit more, right? And once it gets down into these levels of demand, which is over here, now we're talking about, the potential for, this is the daily level, the first one, and that's the second one down here, okay? So we're getting too close to the level to be short, right? But if we wanted to be short, we'd have to actually rally a little bit first from where we are without making the low, obviously, right? We've already made the low, and if we come back to this level of supply up here, I'll take the short again and ride it down into the demand. But from where we are, I don't want to be short. We're too close to the demand. If we go like this and we hit this supply zone, that's fresh supply, no problem. I'll take that short because I know where the next level of demand is. It's underneath us. We've just made a new low. Trend is still down. No problem taking the short, right? So, but short right here, not smart. The demand is sitting right under us. Okay? That's going to be copper. So, short the rally or wait for the bottom to form lower down and think about getting long. That's what we're talking about. This actually is, I think, the trade of the week, believe it or not, soy. What's looking to be something that's going to be a really, really nice long. Take a look here. We had a very, very ugly rejection at 1080. It's this level up here again on the monthly chart we started selling off of. And we got the engulfing candle 2 weeks ago. Then we got this, green, my little candle here looking like a hammer that we were about to hold. But then we got this week's candle where we sort of sold off, and most of this red part is the beginning of the week. If you look back on the daily chart, you'll see we're going a little bit sideways over here, and then we sell off, and we hit this first demand over here on the chart, on the daily chart. Nice level of demand that was sitting around 10. It was a little slightly above. It went right into our 240 zone, 1006, 1009. We shoot out of that sucker, which means now that there's definitely demand sitting underneath us over here. We are still in an uptrend. This is one pullback off the highs, one channel down. And there's the long, right? So this is a corrective move, and this is what's looking to me like the beginning of the next impulse. It's starting. Okay, so we're watching. I'll show you what it looks like on the lower time frame and where the entry is. I mapped it out. This is my trade of the week. Personally, the one I'm going to look for the most right now is this one, okay? And what I'm looking at over here is on the 60 chart, you can see, right, that we were base dropped. Okay, my pen, thank you. And here, right, nice supply. So this is something that I'm a little concerned with. We're going to have to deal with that in a minute. I'll talk about it. But you'll see over here that we had a big basing area, a strong sell-off, and an immediate reversal. We got a V. Boom, boom. Right? See it? I'm sure you do. Okay? And now, we have this one supply zone that I'm concerned with. What I would really like to happen, which I'm not sure is going to, is to see us just rally up here, hit this thing, and then take the back test long somewhere over here. That's one possibility. The other possibility is there's a zone where we're going to try the long already, slightly lower down. I'm going to show it to you. It's going to start out as a potentially counter trend trade because the 60 here is still in a downtrend if you're counting pivots. By the 50 moving average, it's sort of starting to turn around a little bit. So it's like right on the cusp of getting ready to turn around, and it just looks really nice over here. Look at this zone. In general, when we talk about V bottoms, right, what usually happens is you retrace. When you get back to the top, before you break the top, you'll pull back into one level of demand. This is the one I'm talking about, right? And we push into this demand zone, and then we rally out and make the new highs. So if I can catch it over here, I'm pretty sure we're going to get the new highs. I can get my risk off before we hit that 1038, the 40 level that I was showing you on the 60. So that's the first possibility, right? The other one is we just shoot out of here and there should be some kind of basing area somewhere over here when we're coming into the highs where we can use that as a level to enter after we hit that supply up above us. So either way, I'm either going to be long over here or I'm going to be long over here someplace. That's where I'm looking for soy. And where's the target? Let's go back and look at it in the higher time frames because we're talking about a new impulsive daily move. That's what we're talking about, right? We're in an uptrend on the higher time frame, and we're talking about ending the corrective move. Okay, so let's figure it out. Where is the last move up and down taking us? Let's take a look. Okay, so if this is the last impulse from here to here, and I'm saying that this is the last correction right here. Oops, this one has to go up here. There we go. Well, let's see what the fibs tell us. Guess what? The 100% extension on the leg up puts us right into fresh daily gap supply, 1125. Massive trade. Okay, so we turn around over here, realize what this is going to be. We're talking about having another higher low on the daily chart. Right over here, this becomes a higher low again, so which means this is the end of the corrective move. Impulse takes over, boom, right up to 1123. That's where we're going. Fantastic trade. Okay, that is 120. That's $6,000 a contract for soy. Something nuts. All right, so think about watching that level. This is my trade of the week. Personally, the one that I'm going to try to catch is this one. Fun on the indexes and fun on crude and fun on all that kind of crap. Yeah, great. This setup is really nice. Okay, so keep your eye on soy if you're not a soy trader. Maybe something you want to even try to sim trade or learn how to trade it, because when it does stuff like this, it makes massive moves. All right, which means we're talking about breaking this supply zone over here in the monthly chart. That's the 1080. See it? And see the air above us, 1153. That's the gap on the daily chart. That's where the supply is. So we're talking about a massive trade. Okay. If anybody has any questions, be my guest. Otherwise, I'm going to put up the bonds, and we're going to wrap up this week's session. Okay. There we go. U.S. bonds. So flat week pretty much. I mean, we had an inside week on the weekly chart. Well, sort of. Maybe slightly. I don't know if we might even be a double bottom. I'm not sure. And a slightly higher high. But at the end of the day, we really closed like nowhere. Right? Pretty much where we started the week. I mean, you could see that the open of the week and the close of the week are really right near each other. Really not much going on in the bonds. We had the FOMC, so there was a little volatility, and we ended up creating a higher low on the daily chart over here with this reversal candle down here, right? We sort of back tested and confirmed the bottom, and you see the air above. So even though we didn't finish, with a strong rally through the supply zone, I think we're going through there, it looks like. That would make sense sort of with what we're hearing, because the Fed didn't put out that they're going to raise us 4 times. So that means, that the rates actually shouldn't be going up as fast as we thought. And that means that, the bond price should be going up. So the rates really are going to start to go down a little bit. And we should be able to break through this current supply zone because we have the higher low here, which means that, we should be looking for a rally in the price of the U.S. Okay. See what the 240 looks like. Yep, there's the higher low underneath us already coming back to the supply zone. There is the supply zone. That level should break. Based on my rules, this level shouldn't hold anymore. Right over here, we sold off out of the zone, and we're coming back to the zone. We get back up here, so we're going to get higher. Okay, so we have to get through 45, but after that, it's just air. We're going to get through this sucker, and we'll start to rally up. And again, we'll have some resistance in this area. There's supply here also. On the 60 chart, I have it marked up over there, but look for rally for here. I think we're going to see lower interest rates over the next couple of weeks. So on the 60, we're sort of banging around in between zones. There's the first level right there, and on top of us is the next one up there. So there, 45, 46 supply. You could see that we're in an uptrend over here on the 60 chart. We got a little inverted head and shoulders going on over here. right over here, right? Here's our shoulder, and there's our head, and there's the other one over here, and this is the neckline right over here, right? And we're rallying. So look for higher bond prices, okay? Lower interest rates. That's what we're looking for. So if you're a U.S. trader, TLT trader, or whatever you're trading, TY, prices are rising. Okay, look for rallies. Okay, that's it. Anybody have any questions? Otherwise, I'll see you guys on Wednesday, 8:15 a.m. This Wednesday is not a live trading session. The next one will be, but this one is not. It's just a regular webinar at 8:15 a.m. Cool. All right, guys. Everyone have a great weekend. Enjoy the rest of the day. Get ready. There's going to be a lot of fun coming, beginning of the week. Pay attention to the tweets. Because I'll be tweeting out entries and stops and targets and stuff like that. So make sure you have the alerts turned on for the private Twitter feed. Make sure that your phone is giving you the alerts so you get the timely updates. And if you're enjoying the service, let your friends know about it. Okay? Everyone have a great time, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Ciao.